Unveiling the hidden truths of soulless beings in your family. You aware of these 7 signs? I never expected a single dream to change everything, but that's how it began. The night was thick with darkness, a blanket smothering all light. I awoke, heart pounding, sweat clinging to my skin. In the dream, my family stood around me, but their eyes were cold, vacant. It felt as if a chill gripped my very soul. The question lingered like an unwelcome echo: what if some of them were soulless? Every slight interaction held a hidden meaning. An aunt's unsettling smile, a cousin's hollow laugh. They looked normal, but beneath the surface, something was amiss. Each time the sun cast its light, I pictured shadows crawling behind them, whispering secrets I dared not uncover. The world grew heavy with mystery. Were they simply hiding their true selves? I remember one specific evening at a family gathering. The warm lights flickered like spirits dancing through the room. Laughter swelled, but I felt a discord. A wrong note played in the choir of voices. I focused on my uncle, oblivious to the tiny tremors in his hands. He was telling a story, but his eyes were glazed over, drifting as if anchored somewhere far away. How could someone stand so close, yet be so distant? As dusk settled, I glanced outside. The sky dripped with hues of orange and purple, but my heart was shadowed by a growing unease. A wind rustled through the trees, whispering warnings. I sat beneath a maple, grounding myself, seeking answers in the rustling leaves. Was it stress, or was there something more frightening lurking in the mundane? Was this a sign? I wondered. I'd read about 7 signs that indicated the presence of soulless beings. Each fact echoed louder in the depth of my mind. The absence of sorrow, the lack of empathy, the constant craving for control. Could they all be hiding in plain sight? Every interaction became a puzzle piece I had to fit together, but my heart raced against time as the answers slipped away like water through my fingers. Then, in the midst of all this chaos, I found brief glimpses of hope. The laughter of my young niece, innocent and pure, made me smile. There were patches of sunlight and warmth in the heaviness, but I could feel the darkness creeping back. Every day was filled with yearning for clarity, and every moment brought more questions rattling in my chest. Would I have the courage to confront them? What if the truth shattered everything I held dear? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. I decided it was time to delve deeper into this unsettling mystery, to seek out answers and confront the haunting questions that lingered in the corners of my mind. The chill of the night had morphed into something more, a compelling force pulling me towards understanding, urging me to look closer at the shadows covering the faces I thought I knew. One evening, determined to peel back the layers of calm facades, I sat cross-legged under the gentle arch of the old willow tree in my backyard. Its branches swayed gently in the evening breeze, reminiscent of open arms, offering comfort while reminding me of the journey ahead. I closed my eyes and focused on the rustling of the leaves. The whispers began weaving a tapestry of emotions, both fierce and calm, guiding me to a point of introspection. The heart of my inquiry was revealing itself through subtle nudges of intuition. My thoughts drifted back to a conversation with my grandmother. She had attended a gathering of elders in her community, speaking of dreams as portals to deeper truths, the hidden layers of the human soul. I recalled her words vividly. But the truth comes only to those willing to listen, she had said while holding my hands, her gaze piercing yet warm, filled with an otherworldly wisdom. Motivated by her words, I decided to visit her the next day. The anticipation buzzed like electricity in my veins. Arriving at her quaint little home, the aroma of her infamous apple pie wafted through the door, instantly grounding me in nostalgia. I settled in, sensing a sacred space lay between us. As we exchanged pleasantries, I couldn't help but notice the flicker of concern in her eyes as I elaborated on my unsettling observations of our family. Those who appear to be soulless are often cloaked in their own fears, she said, gravity anchoring each word. To truly see them, you have to shed your own layers of fear first. The room felt heavier as her gaze bore into me, a challenge resting on my shoulders, urging me to confront not only those around me but my own uncertainties. Was I prepared to unearth the shadows within myself? Our conversation spiraled deeper, revealing not only ancestral wisdom but insights into the delicate balance between light and darkness in every being. She spoke of the duality of existence, how the soul interplays with both radiance and despair. We bear each other's burdens, often amplifying shadows beyond recognition. As night draped its cloak over the world outside, she shared an elder's practice, a meditation meant to unveil the truth within those we engage with. Follow the intentions of your heart, dear. Trust the energies that connect you, she instructed, her voice a rhythmic chant as she guided me into an age-old practice. I closed my eyes, feeling the warmth envelop me, each breath weaving the universe together within my spirit. With every inhale, I envisioned the glimmers of light surrounding my family, the radiant bonds, the love, perhaps even the fear hidden beneath their masks. With every exhale, I released my apprehensions, and a gentle illumination unfolded in my mind, each family member's essence unfurling like petals of a flower, revealing its core. As visions of my relatives flashed before me, some emitted radiant warmth while others felt cold and guarded. I struggled against judgment, remembering my grandmother's words, every family carries scars, but pain can hollow a soul, causing it to recoil. What if fear transformed their spirits into shadows, making them appear soulless? Emerging from the meditation, I felt a sense of clarity while being swept away by new questions. How much of the soulless nature was attributed to external influences, and how much stemmed from my own perceptions? Was I, too, a thread in this fabric of existence, holding on to fears that distorted my view? I made a silent promise to observe with patience, seeking deeper understanding instead of superficial judgments. As the night faded into dawn, a final thought danced through my mind: what light would be born from emptiness, and how do I become a vessel of light amidst the shadows I uncover? With renewed resolve, I faced a haunting uncertainty: could confronting these truths untangle our collective fears, or would it entrap me deeper into the darkness I sought to shed? The answers seemed to drift just out of reach, shimmering on the horizon of understanding like the sun fighting through a fog. The morning sun filtered through the willow leaves, casting dancing shadows on the ground as I prepared to embark on my ongoing journey of discovery. Awakening from a deep sleep, I felt both lighter and heavier, as if the knowledge I gained in my meditation had shifted the very contours of my soul. There was a restlessness within me, an urge to dive deeper into the fabric of my family's shared existence and to confront the invisible threads binding us together. Each step carried a newfound weight, the gravity of my intentions tugging at my heart, yet filled with wonder. I decided to embark on a solitary hike through the nearby woods, a sacred place that cradled quiet whispers of wisdom in its embrace. The trail wound like a river, its twists and turns inviting introspection with every step. As I navigated the familiar paths, I marveled at how easily nature could reveal deep truths through mere observation. As I delved deeper into the woods, I began to notice the myriad of life surrounding me. Each leaf, each rustle in the underbrush seemed to pulse with energy. The sunlight filtered through the branches, illuminating vivid greens and browns. It felt as if the forest was a living tapestry, each thread woven tightly, creating a robust narrative of life and death, joy and sorrow. My thoughts drifted back to my family, how their stories intertwined with pain and beauty, shaping their very existence. After some time, I reached a serene clearing where an ancient stone stood sentinel, covered in moss and lichen. It radiated history, carrying the silent secrets of eons. An urge to sit before it overcame me. I settled down, allowing the weight of the world to rest upon my shoulders, and closed my eyes, whispering a gentle plea for guidance. In the stillness, the world around me faded, and the sounds of the forest transformed, becoming a symphony resonating with the heartbeat of the earth. I felt vibrations beneath me, overwhelming sensations guiding me back to the core of my spiritual inquiry. Suddenly, shadows of memories unfurled the faces of my family, etched with joys and sorrows, illuminated against the backdrop of the clearing point. One by one, their stories played out with vivid intensity: my father's childhood dreams, clouded by the specter of unfulfilled ambitions; my mother's laughter, tinged with the weight of unspoken grief; my siblings, ensnared in a web of miscommunication, fear, and longing. Each faced their own shadows, their struggles manifesting as echoes of fear that connected us all in unison, a dance of light and darkness threaded into our collective essence. In that moment, a wave of realization washed over me. The truth of my grandmother's lessons sank deeper. If we were ever to find healing, it would require not just understanding others, but also the courage to draw forth our fears and insecurities. It dawned on me our perception of being soulless was often but a reflection of our own disengagement from our truths. Visions blurred together, illustrating how we projected our fears upon each other, an intricate balance so easily disrupted. What if I began to see the soul beneath the layers they wore? Perhaps their soullessness was but a mask, crafted from the very fears I had also harbored. My heart fluttered at this understanding, yet even more questions bubbled to the surface. It struck me, could it be that confronting my family's darkness might unveil hidden narratives waiting to be shared? Would light emerge from the depths of uncommunicated pain? Awakening from this reverie felt exhilarating, yet confusing. The undercurrents of truth pulled at me, an invitation yet a challenge. As I walked back home, the path seemed to shimmer with potential. Each step forward promised new doors, unveiling those unexamined realms. But amid this burgeoning awareness lay a poignant uncertainty. What if the act of revealing these truths brought suffering rather than resolution? Would my exploration serve merely to illuminate shadows, or could it foster strength and kinship that I so desperately desired? This sense of foreboding, blended with the anticipation of connection, weaved itself through my heart, urging me to find balance. In that striking dichotomy between hope and fear, I pondered my own place once again. Was I prepared to be the catalyst for change in my family, and would the shadows I unearthed ultimately nourish our growth? The answers danced just beyond reach, twinkling like stars across the vast expanse of the night sky, leaving me enveloped in existential wonderings as I lay under the willow's embrace, the mysteries of my soul forever unfurling like the petals of a blooming flower. The following morning cascaded a golden light that kissed the dew-laden grass, inviting me to embark on another exploration of the woods. The wind, now warm and gentle, carried an unnameable promise, a whisper urging me to discover something deeper. My thoughts lingered like shadows from yesterday's revelations, intertwining with a burgeoning curiosity about what lay hidden within my family's unacknowledged stories. I ventured forth, the familiar trail enveloping me in its arms, yet the essence of the woods felt different today, pulsating with a vibrant energy. I paused beside a crystalline brook, its babbling water mirroring my thoughts as I contemplated the heart of the matter. What did it mean to unveil hidden truths? Was it simply an excavation of memories, or could it be a bridge toward understanding the fabric of my family's shared existence? As I knelt by the water, tracing the surface with my fingertips, I noticed a peculiar glimmer just below. A small, iridescent stone caught the light, shimmering with every vibration of the water. In that moment, I was struck by an epiphany. That stone, each facet reflecting myriad colors, could symbolize the hidden layers within my family, each one offering a unique narrative waiting to be embraced. It dawned on me, perhaps each family member's struggle was akin to that stone, though obscured by murky waters of misunderstanding and unresolved pain. Encouraged by this metaphor, I rose and walked further down the path, the stream guiding me forward. With every step, I wondered how I might uncover each facet, the stories that remained buried, and how to sift through the sediment of past grievances to reveal the brilliance beneath. Suddenly, I came across an unusual sight. As I rounded a bend, an archway of intertwined branches formed before me, leading to a secluded grove bathed in an ethereal light. A sense of reverence enveloped me as I entered, feeling as if I had crossed a threshold into a sacred realm. In the center stood a gnarled tree, ancient yet full of life, its roots sprawling like an intricate network anchoring it to the earth. With a feeling of solemnity, I approached the tree and laid a hand upon its bark. The texture was rugged, yet warm, and an unexpected energy coursed through me, a connection transcending time and space. I closed my eyes, tuning into the rhythms of the world around me, allowing my breath to synchronize with the beating heart of the tree. In this stillness, visions began to unfold, scenes from my family's past intertwining with the wisdom of the tree. I felt whispers of long-forgotten words dancing in the air, unspoken apologies, concealed desires, and the aching need for acceptance. I envisioned an evening gathering, laughter echoing and faces alive, yet felt the undercurrent of unacknowledged grief that suffused the room. Each scene teemed with a longing for connection and healing, yet the barriers erected by fear eclipsed the light. It struck me then, every family bears its own coat of arms, adorned with both the beauty and the burdens passed down through generations. What if my role was not to unearth these burdens with a harsh light, but rather to approach them with the tenderness of understanding, opening my eyes, I felt a surge of determination. Perhaps this journey was not merely solitary, it required a spirit of collaboration, an invitation for my family members to partake in the unveiling of our shared narratives. By embracing our truths together, we could begin to dismantle the fears that had shadowed us for far too long. As I withdrew my hand from the tree, a question lingered heavily in the air: would my family be ready to acknowledge the depths of our entangled stories? Would they find solace in the act of sharing their hidden truths? The notion filled me with both hope and uncertainty, leaving my heart fluttering like the leaves above me, oscillating between possibilities. As I retraced my steps back home, my mind buzzed with questions and reflections. Would the attempts to unearth the buried truths foster the strength and kinship I so yearned for, or would they reveal fissures that could deepen the divide? Could the pain we avoided for so long serve as the catalyst for profound restoration? Lingering on this precipice of understanding, I felt the pull of my ongoing spiritual journey guiding me forward. The answers remained elusive, dancing like shadows on the corners of my vision. In this dance of light and darkness, I realized that the journey itself was not merely about uncovering hidden truths, it was also about embracing the uncertainty that came with the revelation. With the sun setting over the horizon and tinging the sky with hues of possibility, I surrendered to the great tapestry of life unfolding around me. In this space of ongoing exploration, I pondered, how do we hold the light and shadow of our stories, weaving them into our collective path toward healing? And in doing so, how can we each become a vessel for transformation within ourselves and our loved ones? The dawn of the next day found me restless, my heart drumming with questions that beckoned me back into the embrace of the woods. An invisible force seemed to urge me toward the sacred grove, as if it held the answers I sought. With a resolute spirit, I set forth once more, tracing the familiar trail that had begun to feel less like a pathway and more like a vein of my own being. As I entered the grove, the air crackled with an electric buzz, a prelude to something transformative. The ancient tree stood sentinel, its gnarled branches reaching skyward, and I let myself be drawn back to its trunk, where the energy coursed through me like a gentle stream, harmonizing my breath with its wisdom. I rested my weary forehead against its rough bark, feeling the pulse of life emanate from its core. In this sacred space, an unexpected vision unfolded. I saw a lantern flickering in the distance, casting dancing shadows on the walls of a dimly lit room. As I approached, the figure of a woman emerged from the darkness, my grandmother, vibrant and luminous in a way I had never truly seen her before. Her eyes sparkled with an ethereal light, and though she was woven into the fabric of my memories, she appeared transformed, free from the burdens that had weighed her down in her earthly life. "Look beyond what is seen," she whispered, her voice weaving through the air like a melody. "There are layers to our existence, hidden truths forming an intricate tapestry that binds us all. What we perceive as separation is merely a reflection of our own fears." I felt a rush of emotion swell within me, a longing to understand and, simultaneously, recognition that I was standing on the precipice of something immense. If my grandmother had carried burdens, what were the whispers of her past longing to reveal? My heart tightened, entangled with curiosity and responsibility. Could I dare to delve into the depths of her story? A story that bore the shadows of others as well? From behind her, silhouettes shifted me. Family members emerged one by one as if summoned by a shared understanding. Each faced me, their expressions reflecting both weariness and hope. In this gathering, we were not merely individuals shaped by our personal narratives, we became a sea of interconnected tales, bound by shared experiences, regrets, and the undeniable love that had once flowed between us. To unveil the hidden truths, you must gather the stories, my grandmother urged, her gaze unwavering. Embrace the shadows, for they carry the lessons that light cannot reveal. With these words, I realized that my journey was not simply about seeking truth but actively inviting the stories into the open, allowing them to breathe, to exist without fear or judgment. It dawned upon me that understanding lived in the acceptance of both our luminous moments and our darkest struggles. Each family member's experience was a thread in the tapestry, deserving recognition, care, and love. The vision began to fade, and I felt pulled back to the present moment. As I opened my eyes, the grove glimmered with a new brightness, and the energy enveloped me in a warm embrace. The whispers echoed still in my mind, "Gather the stories." Yet, in my heart, a question emerged, echoing louder than the others: how do I approach my family with this call to unity? Would they view my intentions as a balm or a burden? As I stepped away from the tree, I pondered the risks of bearing open wounds that might not yet be ready to heal. Fear flickered in the corners of my mind, battling with the burgeoning hope that my family could rise together in solidarity. As the sun slipped lower in the sky, casting hues of gold and crimson against the twirling leaves, I recognized that this journey would require immense courage. But beyond that, it would demand patience, a gentle insistence rather than a fierce pursuit. The path forward might be filled with uncertainty and hesitation, yet I understood that confronting the shadows together could enable the brilliance of our shared light to shine ever brighter. I departed from the grove with a heart wide open, embracing the mystery that lay ahead. In this dance between seeking and surrendering, I reflected, how do we foster a space where the stories of our shadows can be shared without fear? And can we trust that the unveiling of our truths will lead us to a deeper understanding, both of ourselves and one another? The journey back from the grove felt surreal, as if the light of the setting sun had left invisible imprints across my skin. Each step was a puzzle piece shifting into place, and I could feel a tangible connection to the stories that had yet to be unveiled, those that lingered in the air like dew on a spring morning. Returning home, I sensed an energy, a prior silence now brimming with potential. In the hours that followed, I attempted to weave normalcy into my interactions, with a gentle smile for my mother as she prepared dinner, a thoughtful question to my father about his day, and playful banter with my siblings. Each exchange felt like a quiet rehearsal for a future conversation yet to come, the significance of which weighed heavily on my mind. Expectations churned within me, an undercurrent of urgency merged with a deepening resolve to begin collecting the threads of connection. Later that evening, as dusk settled and the stars began to twinkle like scattered diamonds, the family gathered in the living room, cozy and familiar. I sat there, my heart a steady drumbeat beneath the cheerful chatter, and again I felt the pull of something greater, a call to weave together not just words, but emotions, sentiments long tucked away under layers of routine. I glanced around the room at my family. Each familiar face held a story, a history that intertwined with my existence. They were a tapestry of resilience, sorrow, joy, and unspoken connections. The atmosphere shifted when I summoned the courage to gently broach an idea: family gathering to share our experiences, to invite the threads of our collective memories forth, rather than leaving them as silenced echoes. What if we shared our stories? I proposed, the words spilling from my lips before I could second-guess them. You know, the things that have shaped us, moments we might not talk about, but that live within us. A collective breath seemed to halt the moment. My siblings exchanged glances, my parents' brows furrowed in contemplation. Their faces were a map of reactions: excitement, skepticism, and even apprehension wrapped within, like vines twining their way around a sturdy tree trunk. I think that could be really valuable, my sister said tentatively, her voice threading through the tension. Almost by magic, the inviting warmth of the idea began to creep into the room, melting the initial resistance. Comments followed, varied and rich, revealing a delicate dance of interest and caution. Yet, amid these exchanges, a shadow of worry settled in my chest. What if their stories were too heavy, too burdened with past aches to be shared freely? My grandmother's urging echoed in my thoughts: embrace the shadows. But could I be the catalyst for such a revelation? As conversation continued, memories shared came alive, childhood mischief, precious moments that carved paths leading us to where we stand now. I was both participant and observer, a thread interwoven into the fabric of our gathering. Promises of vulnerability and trust hung in the air, a magnetic force binding us subtly, yet powerfully. When the night had drawn to its horizon, an unexpected participant emerged into my thoughts: the spirit of my grandmother, her presence felt keenly amongst us. Images of her encouraging smile and warm laughter flooded my mind, filling the spaces of uncertainty that lingered in the shadows. What would she say if she were here physically, weaving the tapestry of her wisdom through our collective experience? Would she remind us that healing starts with understanding? Would she whisper the importance of risk when at the edge of deep connection? As the last echoes of laughter faded into the night, a question crystallized within my heart, a new inquiry layered over the previous uncertainties. Are we ready to cradle the stories that define us, to bring light into our hidden corners? This journey felt like only the beginning, a delicate first step towards unraveling the complex tapestry that was my family. Yet, I also sensed the gravity of what lay ahead, a journey prepped with profound potential for transformation, waiting for the courage to unfold. But with every story that was shared, with every truth that emerged, would we still feel the warmth of familial love against the looming shadows of disappointment? And could we truly embrace our vulnerabilities without the fear of unraveling entirely? The next morning unfolded with a sense of expectation that blurred the lines between routine and the extraordinary. The sunlight streamed through the kitchen window, inviting the day to rush in with an urgent promise. My family was gathering at the breakfast table, and I felt the weight of last night's discussion lingering in the air. I knew the importance of keeping that momentum alive, but the way forward remained veiled in uncertainty. Each clink of cutlery, each soft murmur, felt charged with potential, and my heart raced with the desire to gently nudge the conversation towards deeper waters. We resumed the light banter of mornings, but I could feel an invisible thread connecting me to the gathering storm of memories just waiting to be unleashed. Maybe we could pick a date for our sharing, I suggested, my voice steadying. Eyes glanced up, interest peaked, but unspoken hesitation still intertwined between our laughs. I could tell everyone was grappling with a blend of excitement and unease, like standing at the edge of a deep lake, unsure of what lay beneath the surface. As we cleared dishes and cleared our minds, my father stepped outside, his habitual morning ritual drawing him toward the garden. A few moments passed before the rest of us joined him, lured by the scent of freshly mown grass and the soft rustle of leaves in the breeze. The garden was alive with blossoms and buzzing bees, a sanctuary alive in color and sound. I spotted a butterfly flitting from flower to flower, its vibrant wings a vivid contrast against the backdrop of greenery. It paused momentarily, resting just a breath away from me. In that fleeting moment, an understanding washed over me. The butterfly's metamorphosis resonated with the journey we were embarking upon, the unfolding layers of self, the intricate dance of transformation. I whispered softly, "Sometimes, we must break free from our cocoons to reveal our true essence." My siblings nodded, seemingly catching my intended metaphor. A sense of unity enveloped us as we also collectively appreciated nature's display, grounding ourselves in the beauty around us. A memory then surfaced, evoking smiles and laughter, a past family trip when we ventured into the wild, camping beneath the stars and sharing stories until sleep claimed us. Had we unknowingly laid the groundwork for what we sought to do now? Back indoors, after breakfast, a faint chirp from the birds outside drew my attention to the window. I turned to see my mother standing there, her expression pensive. She glanced between her hands as if opening an internal dialogue. "You know, your grandmother often told stories that seemed simple at first but carried deeper meanings," she said. "Perhaps it's time we revisit those tales. They shaped us, too." Her unexpected words felt like an unearthing, a hidden treasure revealing itself. The urge to dive deeper surged within me, and for the first time, I considered what collective histories she and my father had lived through, the challenges of their youth, the choices they'd made, the lives they'd forged from the shadows of their experiences. "Mom, which stories do you think we've left untold?" I ventured. Silence began to twist around us, as if everyone were feeling the weight of my question. The urge to speak hung in the air, yet nobody broke the stillness. But as my mother's gaze softened, the flicker of something meaningful passed between us, recognition of unspoken truths. "I believe there are family secrets, burdens we've never shared," she finally said. "Maybe out of fear or shame. Your grandmother carried many with her." The raw honesty of her words hung heavy, a bittersweet invitation to delve into wounds that needed healing. At that moment, the world outside faded away, and I realized together we stood on the precipice of revealing not just facts but the essence of what we were, a tapestry rich with vulnerability and courage. It dawned on me that this wasn't merely about recounting past anecdotes, it was a deliberate step towards collective healing and understanding. As the day drew on, I felt a gentle urgency weaving itself through me. I envisioned the family gathering taking shape, faces illuminated by shared reflections and unbroken bonds surrendering to raw honesty. Yet, intermingled within the thrill was an unshakable fear that lingered like smoke in a darkened room. Were we truly prepared to confront the hidden truths? What happens when the light is shined upon our conditioned defenses, our unspeakable grief? I turned these questions over in my mind as the evening shadows lengthened, setting the stage for revelation yet unseen. The allure of that uncharted territory tinged with potential hung around my heart. As I watched the stars blink to life, I meditated upon the connection between them, each a distant heartbeat in the vast universe. Would the stars, too, hold the truths of our stories, silently witnessing the intertwining narratives of our lineage. In the stillness, I was left with one profound query echoing within me: can we face the ghosts of our pasts and emerge as a more profound, interconnected version of our family, or would we retreat into the safety of silence, letting the shadows consume the brilliance yet to be shared? With the evening's calm cradling us, I could feel a gentle yet persistent nudging from within. It was the kind of sensation that often whispered during moments of reflection, beckoning me to peer deeper into the recesses of my thoughts and the layers of my existence. The stories my mother had mentioned lingered like echoes in a cave, reverberating with the promise of revelation. The stillness enveloped our household, juxtaposed against the backdrop of our vibrantly chaotic lives. I excused myself from the cozy warmth of the living room and ventured outside once again, seeking the solace of the night. The cool air wrapped around me like a soft embrace as I stepped onto the dew-kissed grass. I gazed upward, where constellations blazed against the firmament, a cosmic conversation taking place through the ages, but it wasn't just the beauty of the stars that captivated my attention. In the distance, I spotted a flickering light, a firefly dancing in the dark. I was drawn toward its erratic glow, mirroring how I felt chasing after flickers of understanding amidst a vast, shadowy landscape. It flitted from one spot to another, rhythmically lighting its path, and I realized it carried an inherent wisdom. This creature, so small and seemingly insignificant, radiated its essence boldly against the encompassing night. "How do you celebrate your existence without fear?" I whispered into the stillness, almost questioning nature itself. The firefly pulsed like a heartbeat, and in its graceful movement, I saw a reflection of my journey, an interplay of light and darkness, uncertainty and revelation. Just then, footsteps approached, and I turned to see my younger brother, Sam, joining me. "Lost?" he asked playfully, understanding my search for something beyond the ordinary. I smiled faintly, appreciating how he could always break the gloom with a touch of humor. "No, not lost. Just looking for answers." "Thought as much," he said, his demeanor shifting to something more sincere. "It's kinda big, isn't it? What we're trying to do." A weight settled upon us, pressing against unacknowledged anxieties. I found his simplicity comforting. "Yeah, it feels monumental, like we are about to peel back layers that might be best left on. But the peeling is important, right?" he replied, his brows drawing together in thought. Like getting to the good stuff beneath, his words resonated, igniting curiosity. Did we really understand the layers we carried? The stories we absorbed from our parents, whispered in the twilight of evenings long past, and the unrecognized emotions that lingered like ghosts. Perhaps each one of us held onto memories like pearls hidden in the depths of our own seas, radiating beauty but buried beneath a bed of past storms. "Sam, can you recall any tales from Grandma?" I asked, encouraging the narrative to come forward. His face lit up, reflecting an impulse for connection. "Oh, there was this one about how she found a coin that changed her luck. Mom says it was during the Great Depression. She said it was like the universe's way of telling her things would get better." The story sparked something deeper within me, weaving an intricate thread through our family's tapestry. What if those remnants of luck, those narratives shape us? What if we still carry them, unnoticed? Sam shrugged, his lingering gaze shifting to the stars above. "I reckon we do. Like, maybe that's why Mom is hesitant, because those stories come with weight. Weight can be a good thing, though," I argued softly. "They can teach us resilience, compassion, show us that we can rise." A shared silence encased us, the weight of our realizations pressing against the very fabric of our being. Dark clouds drifted above, momentarily concealing the moon, yet somehow illuminating our surroundings with a luminous kinship. In that moment of connection, I glimpsed a pathway illuminated by unspoken memories, stories etched in our shared history, woven through smiles, tears, triumphs, and heartaches. I pondered how beneath the seemingly trivial moments lay profound connections waiting to be awakened. As we returned into the house, spirits ignited by our discussion, a tapestry of unformed questions began to take shape. What if revisiting these stories could catalyze a collective awakening? Would we find a hidden strength in embracing both our legacy and our unshared burdens? With anticipation tinged by trepidation, I descended into my thoughts again, aware that our revealing wasn't just an unveiling of curiosities but an invitation to mend the fissures of our past. The lingering question remained, how might our family transform if we chose to illuminate the shadows of our legacies together, cherishing every beautiful, messy truth that binds us? In the days that followed our deep conversation beneath the stars, a quiet urgency settled inside me. The exploration of our family's narratives loomed large, calling me like a whisper from the depths of ancestral memories. I began purveying the mundane moments of daily life for signs, seeking guidance that might not reveal itself in overt declarations but rather in the details and glimmers of consciousness that often went unnoticed. I turned my attention to the small things, a gentle smile from my father as he sipped coffee before dawn, the way my mother hummed while folding laundry, snippets of laughter that erupted in the living room during family board game nights. Each moment seemed to vibrate with an energy that entangled our stories with a shared fate. It was as if every gesture was a thread, weaving a vast tapestry that told a tale of both chaos and connection, hardship and joy. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, I found myself rifling through some boxes in the attic. Dust motes danced in the golden light that poured through a small window, illuminating long-forgotten treasures. Old letters, family photographs, and artifacts from generations past surrounded me, feeling almost sacred in their muted presence. I opened one particularly worn box and discovered a collection of my grandmother's diaries. Curiosity piqued, I turned the pages with reverence. Slanting handwriting told stories of resilience, the iridescent longing and fleeting joys captured within her careful prose echoed within me. The struggles she faced during the Depression were palpable in each sentence, yet so too was her unwavering spirit. On this day, I found a single feather, and with it, a reminder that even the lightest burdens can carry the weight of hope. These words struck me, reverberating against my internal quest. What if every hardship we carried was cradled by pieces of hope hidden within us? What if my family's journey through time was not merely a passage of events but a vibrant exchange of wisdom, wounds, and wishes? I felt an almost magnetic pull toward the pile of journals, and I began to read more intently. The stories unfolded like petals of a flower, revealing layers of hurt, healing, and marvel. I could map our familial traits through these entries. My grandmother's tenacity mirrored in my father, and perhaps his sense of humor reflected in Sam. The realization struck me that our stories, no matter how trivial or troubling, held the potential for healing and understanding within their contours. On a subsequent evening, I decided to share the excerpts I had uncovered with my family during our dinner, an unfolding of stories, a reckoning with our past. As I read aloud, I could see the reactions bloom across their faces, recognition, empathy, and connections forming from the threadbare fabric of our family history. My mother's eyes glistened as she recalled her own childhood, intertwined with the tales my grandmother spun with her words. The power of those moments charged the atmosphere, breathing new life into our often rushed conversations. We were no longer just a family sharing dinner, we became a gathering of souls rediscovering forgotten echoes. Each story we put forth became a catalyst, creating spaces for us to reveal our unspoken emotions. Sam shared a moment of doubt from school, my father spoke of a past regret regarding work, and my mother, touched by the vulnerability around the table, recounted her struggle with self-acceptance. With each layer we peeled back, something profound stirred within, the dawning realization that our hidden truths were merely waiting for the light of acknowledgement to awaken them. As we washed our dishes that evening, I pondered this notion, reflecting on how liberating it had felt to embrace the various shades of our shared experience. Yet, as the night deepened and the stars twinkled above, a question lingered, staving off resolution: what uncharted territories could emerge from fully embracing these narratives? Would we find transformation simply in the act of remembering, or was there a deeper calling that beckoned us to weave new stories with the remnants of our past? There lay an expansive universe of possibility before us, but how do we begin to shape this collective journey into a legacy worth passing down? As the echoes of our conversations faded, I found myself standing at the precipice of an inner quest, soliciting not only more stories but a vision of how better to bridge our present with the wisdom of our lineage. It was the paradox of belonging, being rooted in our histories while seeking paths toward an illuminated future. The sun began to rise on a new day, painting the sky in soft pastels of orange and pink, igniting a fire of hope within me. Today would mark the beginning of something extraordinary, a collective awakening that felt as inevitable as the changing of the seasons. I stood at the threshold of our family gathering, my heart racing with a mixture of exhilaration and trepidation. The gentle chatter and laughter of my family filled the air as they prepared for what lay ahead. We had decided to converge in the backyard under the wide canopy of the old willow tree, its branches providing a comforting embrace that promised protection and sacred space. As I looked around at the faces beloved and familiar, I marveled at the intricate stories etched on each of them, the joy, sorrow, and everything in between that had shaped their souls. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment settle on my shoulders, both heavy and uplifting at once. Gathering everyone in a circle, I spoke with a voice that quivered gently, yet conveyed the resolute strength I had summoned during my introspective journey. Today, we are here to weave together our stories, the threads of our lives that connect us, each unique yet collectively ours. Let us uncover not only our laughter and joys but also the shadows that have lingered uninvited. In embracing both the light and the darkness, we make space for healing and understanding. The air pulsated with an unseen energy as they nodded and shared glances, their eyes reflecting cautious anticipation. My mother went first, sharing a tale from her childhood, a memory filled with laughter and mischief, but also underscored by a painful realization that her own voice often went unheard in the midst of her 6 siblings. Hers was a story layered with an ache for recognition, a longing for the spotlight she often pushed aside to keep the peace. As the words flowed from her heart, I watched the walls around her unravel slightly, revealing the vibrant soul beneath the shimmering veneer of familial duty. With her disclosure, a safe fissure emerged in the fabric of our gathering, inviting others to share their truths. One by one, my siblings opened up about their experiences, the struggles of living up to expectations, the fear of vulnerability, and the discomfort of grappling with their own insecurities. It was raw and real, but there was also a palpable moment of connection, each story echoing in unison, a symphony of human experience. And then, it was my father's turn. He began to recount a tale from his early years, his voice resonant with emotion. It was a story of ambition unfulfilled, of dreams drowned in responsibility, and the burden of providing for a family, narratives he had carried in silence for far too long. The weight of his admission sank deep into the soil of our gathering, grounding us further in our shared reality. In that moment, I recognized that his story was not just his own but a mirror reflecting back to the generations before us. Each hardship, each emotional scar, was a testament to our resilience as a family. As we delved deeper, I noticed that the very act of sharing these hidden pieces ignited sparks of understanding. My own heart and mind began to fill with a renewed sense of clarity. Each story brought to light the shadows that transformed our perspectives. I realized that every time we spoke our truths, we were lighting a candle in the vast, dark cavern of our histories, illuminating paths for healing. And then, a silence settled over the circle's sacred pause where the echoes of our truths mingled in the air, interwoven with a silent acknowledgement that our shared journey was one of intertwined legacies. Just as the wind seemed to whisper the next step, my younger brother Sam, his face serious yet hopeful, spoke up. "What if," he proposed gently, "instead of hiding our fears, we make a promise to carry each other's burdens? To weave our experiences together, not just in silence but in support." Those words resonated deep within my soul, like a seed planted in fertile ground. I could sense a collective wave of understanding wash over us, washing away the muddy waters of unspoken grief that had for too long shadowed our existence. It felt like the universe was conspiring to draw lines between our hearts, inviting us into deeper relationships, not just with each individual story, but as a united front against the trials of life. In that moment, I felt an awakening, a resolution weaved not around mere stories but an understanding of ourselves and each other. It was an invitation to embrace the fullness of our beings, the light and the dark, the joyous and the painful, as essential threads in the complex tapestry of our family identity. As the sun dipped low in the sky, casting hues of gold around us, I closed my eyes, feeling the warmth of their presence, an intricately woven essence merging into one powerful force. My heart brimmed with gratitude for the courage it took to share, for the willingness to illuminate those hidden corners of our lives that long begged for acknowledgement. In that collective breath, I found closure, a profound realization blossoming within me. We aren't merely souls dwelling in separate spaces, we are manifestations of an evolution born out of each wound, a shared existence rooted in the richness of our histories. Together, we had embarked on a path filled with the promise of transformation, each step drawing us closer to understanding and connection. And as our gathering dissolved into a comforting night filled with laughter and hearts full, I knew this was just the beginning. We would carry forth the light we discovered, nurturing it so it may illuminate paths for those who came after user children, our children's children, a legacy of truth woven through time. And so, as I whispered a silent vow into the universe, I understood this powerful revelation. In the embracing of our stories, we found not only ourselves but the sacred truth that binds us all: love, resilience, and a shared humanity that beckons us to rise together in the face of every shadow that seeks to overshadow the brilliance of our being. Together, we are eternal threads, woven not just into a family but into the very fabric of existence itself.